In 1989, a well-known American basketball coach, Earl Timothy Cohn, or popularly known as Coach Tim Cohn, was hired by General Milling Corporation to help with their basketball team. The Department of Labor and Employment approved his employment and issued an Alien Employment Permit, AEP. Later that year, GMC and Cohn formalized their relationship with a coaching contract. By the early 1990s, Cohn's status was changed from tourist to prearranged employee, and GMC even requested that he be promoted to head coach. The Dole regional director approved it, and a new AEP valid until December 1990 was issued. However, not everyone was happy with this development. The Basketball Coaches Association of the Philippines, or the BCAP, stepped in and appealed the issuance of Cohn's work permit. They argued that there were qualified Filipino coaches available, so hiring a foreigner was not justified. Legally, Cohn should only be allowed to work if there's no Filipino citizen available for the job. So on April 23, 1990, the Secretary of Labor agreed with BCAP and canceled Cohn's employment permit, saying there was no proof that a Filipino couldn't do the job, nor that Cohn's employment would benefit national interest. GMC didn't back down. They filed a motion for reconsideration but were denied. Left with no other option, GMC and Cohn went to the Supreme Court, claiming that the Labor Secretary went beyond his authority. They argued that the Labor Code does not give the Secretary the power to cancel permits based on vague national interest reasons. They also claimed grave abuse of discretion in how the cancellation was handled. So the main issue to be resolved in this case was whether or not the Secretary of Labor acted with grave abuse of discretion in subsequently canceling the alien employment permit that was already issued to Tim Cohn. The Supreme Court reviewed the case filed by GMC and Coach Tim Cohn, but ultimately ruled against them. The court found no grave abuse of discretion on the part of the Secretary of Labor when he revoked Cohn's alien employment permit. GMC argued that it was their right as an employer to hire anyone they wanted, including a foreign coach. But the court made it clear that under Article 40 of the Labor Code, employers must first get a work permit from the Department of Labor before hiring an alien. The right to hire is not absolute. It's subject to labor regulations that protect Filipino workers. GMC also said it was unfair that Coach Norman Black, who was another foreign coach, was not treated the same. But the court explained that Black is a longtime resident of the Philippines and not a non-resident alien, like Cohn. Since the rules apply only to non-resident aliens, the Equal Protection Clause does not apply in this case. Finally, GMC argued that revoking Cohn's permit violated their contractual agreement. But the court reminded them that contracts must follow existing laws, especially those involving public interest. The requirement for an alien employment permit was already part of the law before GMC and Cohn signed their contract. So, they cannot claim impairment of contract, because that rule must have been followed from the very beginning. The court concluded that only the Department of Labor and Employment has the authority to determine if a local worker is available for a job before a foreigner can be hired. This power is valid, constitutional, and essential to protect Filipino labor. The petitioners argued that the labor rules were unfair because they added a requirement not found in the Labor Code, that hiring a foreign worker must serve the national interest. But the Supreme Court disagreed. It explained that the law already gives the Labor Secretary the power to decide if no qualified Filipino can do the job, and that this decision should consider what's best for the country. After all, the law's goal is to protect local workers and promote national development. Later, the petitioners told the court that the Labor Secretary had changed his mind and already approved Coach Cohn's work permit. They asked to withdraw the case, saying it was already moot and academic. But the court chose to still decide the case, since the issues raised, like who gets to decide on foreign workers and how, were too important to ignore. In the end, the court ruled there was no abuse of power. It upheld the rule requiring that foreign employment must benefit the country and not displace qualified Filipinos. Even though Cohn got his permit in the end, the court made it clear, any such decision must follow the law and serve the national interest.